I never thought the foundations of my marriage would collapse because of something my daughter saw with her own eyes. For 12 years, I was married to Neha, a woman I believed was my partner for life. We had a comfortable home, steady jobs, and most importantly, a 10-year-old daughter named Aanya who was the light of our lives. I worked hard so that my family would never lack anything, and I trusted Neha completely. She was charming, social, and always seemed to be the perfect mother. But even perfect facades can hide cracks that eventually split wide open. It started with small changes in her routine, the kind that gnaw at the back of your mind but are easy to ignore. She stayed later at work, began dressing differently, and was constantly glued to her phone. She became impatient with me, always distracted, yet strangely more affectionate with Aanya, as though she was trying to cover her guilt by overcompensating with our daughter. I brushed off my suspicions because I didn't want to believe she could betray us. The truth, however, has a cruel way of revealing itself. One afternoon, while I was stuck at the office finishing a report, Aanya came home from school earlier than usual. She let herself in and expected to find her mother preparing lunch or tidying up, but what she walked into was something no child should ever see. Neha was in the living room, tangled up on the couch with a man Aanya had never met before. Shocked and confused, Aanya froze. Neha saw her, jumped up in a panic, and screamed at the man to leave. He grabbed his clothes and ran out the back door, leaving my daughter crying in the hallway. That evening, when I came home, Aanya was unusually quiet. She finally pulled me aside, trembling, and told me everything she had seen. At first, I thought she must have misunderstood, but the details were too vivid and painful to be fabricated. My 10-year-old had witnessed her mother's betrayal. The fury that rushed through me was indescribable, but I also felt a crushing sadness for my little girl, who had been forced to carry a truth no child should. I confronted Neha immediately, and though she tried to deny it at first, the guilt on her face betrayed her. When I told her Aanya had seen everything, she collapsed in tears. She begged me not to believe our daughter, saying children can misinterpret things, but deep down she knew the game was over. I didn't scream. I didn't throw things. I simply told her to pack a bag and leave the house that night. I couldn't bear for Aanya to sleep under the same roof as the mother who had betrayed her father in front of her eyes. Neha sobbed and tried to reach for Aanya, but my daughter turned away, clinging to me instead. That image is seared into my memory. The woman I once loved begging for forgiveness while the child we raised together chose me without hesitation. The following days were a blur of paperwork, conversations with lawyers, and painful explanations to family members. Neha admitted to the affair eventually, claiming she had been lonely and felt I was too busy with work. Her excuses sounded hollow compared to the gravity of what she had done. She hadn't just betrayed me. She had scarred her own daughter. The divorce process began swiftly. With the evidence of her infidelity and Anya's testimony, the court favored me heavily. I was granted primary custody of my daughter, and Neha was restricted to supervised visitation until a counselor deemed it safe. She lost not only her marriage, but the trust of the person she should have protected most, her child. The man she had been with vanished from her life the moment the affair came to light. He wanted no part of the scandal. Her reputation among friends and family collapsed, and her own parents, ashamed and furious, distanced themselves from her. She went from being the admired wife and mother to a cautionary tale whispered about behind closed doors. Meanwhile, I focused all my energy on helping Aanya heal. We attended therapy sessions together, talked openly about feelings, and I reassured her daily that none of it was her fault. Slowly, she began to smile again, though I knew a piece of her innocence had been stolen forever. As for me, the betrayal cut deep, but I found a strange sense of clarity. Love cannot survive without trust, and trust once broken can never be restored. I realized that clinging to Neha or trying to rebuild would only prolong the pain. Divorce wasn't just inevitable, it was the only way forward. In time, I stopped asking myself why she cheated and started focusing on how to build a future for my daughter and me. Months later, Neha tried to reconcile. She sent long messages about how she missed her family and how she was willing to do anything to earn forgiveness. But the damage was permanent. Aanya refused to speak to her beyond what the court mandated, and I no longer had the capacity to love her. She had made her choice when she invited another man into our home and destroyed our daughter's sense of safety. Today, Neha lives alone in a small rented apartment, cut off from most of the people who once respected her. Her career stalled, her friendships dwindled, and her relationship with her daughter remains fractured. I wish I could say I felt joy at her downfall, but what I feel instead is a grim sense of justice. She thought she could cheat and still keep her family, but everything went terribly wrong the moment she underestimated the cost. My life with Anya is quieter now, but it is honest. We laugh, we cook dinner together, and we are slowly learning how to live without the shadow of betrayal hanging over us. And every time I look at her, I remind myself that sometimes the truth comes out in the harshest ways, and though it hurts, it also sets you free.